At my daughter's wedding, she said, "Mom, sit at the far table so you won't be visible. Don't ruin our photos." I just smiled. She didn't know that I had paid for the entire celebration. Then I took my phone and did, "Good day, dear listeners. It's Clara again. I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way I can see how far my story has traveled." I had always believed that sacrifice was the language of love. For 32 years, I'd spoken it fluently, working double shifts at the hospital, skipping meals so my daughter Jennifer could have piano lessons, selling my mother's jewelry to pay for her college tuition. Was it worth it? I'd asked myself that question 1,000 times, and the answer had always been yes. Until the wedding. The morning of Jennifer's wedding, I woke up in the cramped hotel room I'd booked for myself. Not the bridal suite, of course. That was reserved for Jennifer and her bridesmaids. I'd paid for that too. In fact, I'd paid for everything. The venue at the Riverside Country Club, the imported flowers, the 7-tier cake, the live band, the open bar. $43,000. My entire retirement savings. I didn't mind. Or at least, I told myself I didn't mind. Jennifer was my only child. And after her father walked out on us when she was 5, she'd been my whole world. I raised her alone, gave her everything I never had. And now, watching her marry Marcus, a corporate lawyer from a wealthy family, I felt proud. She'd made it. We'd made it. The ceremony was beautiful. Jennifer looked stunning in her designer gown, another expense I'd covered without hesitation. I sat in the 3rd row, not the front. "Mom, Marcus's parents need to be in the front row," Jennifer had explained weeks earlier. "It's tradition for the groom's family." I'd nodded, smiled, said I understood. But what happened at the reception shattered something inside me that I didn't know could break. I arrived at the country club wearing the lavender dress I'd bought on sale specifically for this day. I'd lost 15 pounds to fit into it. I'd gotten my hair done at a salon for the first time in years. I wanted to look good for my daughter's special day. I wanted her to be proud of me. As I entered the reception hall, searching for my seat, Jennifer rushed over. Her face was flushed, her eyes darting around nervously. "Mom," she hissed, gripping my arm tighter than necessary. "I need to talk to you." "What's wrong, sweetheart?" She pulled me aside, behind a massive flower arrangement. Flowers I'd paid for. Her voice dropped to a harsh whisper. "Mom, please sit at the table in the back, the one by the kitchen." I blinked, confused. The back? But honey, I thought, "Mom, please." Her eyes were cold now, a look I'd seen more frequently over the past year since she'd started dating Marcus. Marcus's family is here, important people, clients, his colleagues. She paused, and what came next felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. "Sit at the far table where you won't be visible. Don't ruin our photographs." The words hung in the air between us. Don't ruin our photographs. I felt my face grow hot, then cold. Around us, guests were laughing, champagne glasses clinking. The band was playing something jazzy and expensive. Everything looked perfect. Everything except me, apparently. "Jennifer," I said quietly, "what are you saying?" She sighed, exasperated. "Mom, look at you. Your dress it's outdated. And your hair, I told you to go to the salon I recommended, not that cheap place. Marcus's mother is wearing Chanel. Her friends are influential. I can't have you in the family photos looking like—" She trailed off, but the damage was done. Looking like what? Like a woman who'd worked herself to the bone? Like a nurse who'd spent decades caring for others? Like a mother who'd given everything? I smiled. I don't know why I smiled. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was years of conditioning myself to accept whatever Jennifer needed. "Of course, sweetheart," I heard myself say. "Whatever makes you happy." Her face relaxed immediately. "Thanks, Mom. You understand." She kissed my cheek, a quick, perfunctory gesture, and hurried back to Marcus, who was surrounded by men in expensive suits. I walked to the back table, alone. It was tucked behind a decorative screen near the swinging kitchen doors. From here, I could barely see the head table where Jennifer and Marcus sat, laughing with their wedding party. I couldn't see them, but I could hear the speeches, the toasts, the celebration of their love. I sat down, my purse in my lap. Inside that purse was my phone, and inside my phone was something Jennifer didn't know about. The banking app connected to the account where I'd transferred $43,000 just 2 weeks ago to pay for this wedding. My hand trembled as I pulled out my phone. What was I doing? Was I really going to? Yes, I was. I stared at the phone screen, the banking app glowing in the dim corner where I'd been exiled. Around me, the celebration continued, a celebration I'd financed. The irony wasn't lost on me. $43,000. The number glowed on the screen in cold, digital certainty. But it wasn't just money, was it? It was years. It was sacrifices. It was the vacation I never took, the car I never bought, the retirement I'd never have. I opened my calculator app and started typing. Not because I didn't know the numbers, I knew them intimately, but because I needed to see them, to make them real. Jennifer's private school, $78,000 over 12 years. Her college tuition at Northwestern, $124,000. Her summer abroad program, $8,500. Her first car when she graduated, $15,000. The security deposit on her first apartment when she moved to the city, $4,200. The money I'd lent her to start her marketing business that she never paid back, $12,000. The designer handbag I'd bought her last Christmas because Marcus's colleagues all carry them, $2,800. The total came to $287,500, nearly $300,000. More than that, actually, because I hadn't counted the smaller things, the dinners I'd paid for, the shopping trips, the spa days she'd invited me to and then expected me to cover. What had I gotten in return? A seat by the kitchen, instructions to stay invisible. I looked up, peering around the decorative screen. I could just see Jennifer at the head table, her head thrown back in laughter at something Marcus's father had said. Marcus's arm was around her shoulders. She looked radiant, happy, completely unconcerned about where her mother was sitting. How long had she been ashamed of me? When had it started? I tried to remember. Was it when she started dating Marcus? Or earlier? Had there been signs I'd missed, too blinded by my love for her to see the truth? I remembered her college graduation. I'd worn my nurse's uniform because I'd come straight from a shift. I'd taken extra hours that month to afford her celebration dinner. She'd introduced me to her friends, briefly, hurriedly, then spent the rest of the evening with them while I stood alone by the refreshment table. I remembered Christmas 2 years ago when she'd asked me not to bring my usual homemade dishes to Marcus's family dinner. "His mother is having it catered, Mom. It'll look weird if you bring your casseroles." I remembered last summer, when I'd offered to help her move into the house she and Marcus had bought together. "We've hired movers, Mom. Professional ones. You don't need to strain yourself." But it wasn't about the strain, was it? It was about not wanting me there. Not wanting Marcus's new neighbors to see her mother in old jeans carrying boxes. The pattern was clear now. I'd been too close to see it before. Too desperate to maintain our relationship, to acknowledge what was happening. Jennifer was erasing me. Slowly, systematically, she was removing me from her new life, the life I'd made possible. My fingers moved across the phone screen. I navigated to my banking app, found the transaction history. There it was. 2 weeks ago, the transfer of $43,000 to the wedding venue. The payment was scheduled to be processed tomorrow, the day after the wedding, as per the contract. I could cancel it right now. The payment hadn't gone through yet. It was still in pending status. One call to the bank, and I could stop it. But then what? Jennifer would be humiliated. The venue would demand payment. There would be scandal, legal trouble possibly. Was I really prepared to do that to my own daughter? I looked at her again. She was feeding Marcus a piece of cake now, photographers snapping away, capturing their perfect moment. Our eyes met for just a second across the room. She didn't smile, didn't wave, just looked away, as if I were a stranger who'd accidentally caught her gaze. That decided it. I wouldn't cancel the payment, not yet. That was too rash, too destructive. But I could do something else, something smarter. I opened my email and started a new message to my lawyer, Thomas Brighton. I'd used him years ago to write my will. It was time to revise it. Thomas, I typed, I need to see you Monday morning. Urgent matter regarding my estate. Need to make significant changes to my will and set up some financial protections. Please confirm earliest available appointment. I hit send. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady now. This wasn't about revenge. This was about dignity. This was about teaching my daughter a lesson she should have learned long ago, that people aren't disposable, that love isn't transactional, and that mothers, even unfashionable ones, deserve respect. The first course was being served. From my hidden corner, I could smell the expensive food. I'd paid for it, but I wasn't hungry anymore. I was planning. Monday morning arrived with the kind of clarity that follows a sleepless weekend. I'd barely spoken to Jennifer after the reception. She'd been too busy with guests, with Marcus's family, with her new husband. When the evening ended, she'd given me a distracted hug and said, "Thanks for coming, Mom," as if I'd been just another guest, as if I hadn't made the entire event possible. Thomas Brighton's office was in downtown Chicago, in one of those old buildings with marble floors and brass elevators. I'd dressed carefully, my best pantsuit, the one I wore to important hospital board meetings. I wanted to look competent, clear-headed, not like a woman acting on emotion. "Margaret?" Thomas greeted me, rising from behind his mahogany desk. He was in his 60s, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "It's been a few years. Please sit." I settled into the leather chair across from him. "I need to make changes to my will, significant ones." He pulled out a legal pad. "All right, walk me through what you're thinking." I'd rehearsed this. "Currently, Jennifer is my sole beneficiary. The house, my life insurance policy, my retirement accounts, everything goes to her. I want to change that." Thomas's pen paused. "I see. May I ask what's prompted this?" I told him. Not everything, not the emotional details, but enough. The wedding, the expenses, the treatment I'd received. His expression remained professional, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Sympathy, perhaps, or recognition. Maybe he'd seen this before. Children who took advantage of generous parents. "What would you like to do instead?" he asked. "First, I want to establish a revocable living trust. Everything goes into the trust, the house, the accounts, all of it. I maintain control while I'm alive, but I want to name new beneficiaries." "Who did you have in mind?" "St. Jude's Children's Hospital, the Nursing Scholarship Fund at Northwestern, and—" I paused, thinking of the one person who'd shown me genuine kindness recently. My colleague, Diane Chen. She's a single mother, struggling to put her son through college. I'd like to leave her $50,000. Thomas wrote quickly. And Jennifer? She gets my mother's wedding ring, that's all. It has sentimental value, but isn't worth much financially. Margaret, I have to ask, have you thought this through? This is a drastic change. Sometimes family conflicts can be resolved. I have thought it through, I interrupted, my voice firm. I've thought of nothing else all weekend. I'm 64 years old, Thomas. I've spent my entire adult life putting Jennifer first. I think it's time I made decisions based on what I value, not what she expects. He nodded slowly. All right, I'll draw up the paperwork. This will take about a week. In the meantime, I'd recommend documenting everything. Expenses you've incurred on Jennifer's behalf, any relevant communications. If she contests this later, we want a clear record. I hadn't thought of that. You think she'd contest it? People do surprising things when money's involved, he said gently. I left his office feeling both empowered and exhausted. The trust was a good first step, but it wasn't enough. I needed Jennifer to understand, really understand, what she'd done. That afternoon, I was at home going through old files when my phone rang. Jennifer. Hey, Mom. Her voice was cheerful, lighter than I'd heard it in months. The wedding was over. She'd gotten what she wanted. Hello, Jennifer. So, Marcus and I are looking at the wedding photos the photographer sent over. They're amazing. You should see them. I'd like to. Well, she hesitated. The thing is, we're making an album for Marcus's parents first. You know, as a thank you gift. But I'll send you some eventually. Eventually. Not even a promise of which photos, just some. Jennifer, I wanted to talk to you about something. Oh? Her tone shifted, became guarded. I've been thinking about the wedding expenses. $43,000 is a lot of money. Silence. Then, Mom, we talked about this. You offered. You said it was your gift to us. I did say that. But I'm 64 now, and I'm starting to think about my future, my retirement. That money represented my entire savings. Okay? She drew out the word suspiciously. Where is this going? I'm just saying, it would help if you and Marcus could contribute something. Even a partial repayment would... Are you serious right now? Her voice went cold, sharp. You're asking us to pay you back for our wedding? Mom, that's incredibly tacky. You don't give a gift and then ask for it back. That's not how this works. I'm not asking for all of it. Just, Marcus's parents paid for the rehearsal dinner and didn't ask us for a dime. That's what parents do, Mom. They support their children. They don't treat it like a business transaction. My chest tightened. Jennifer, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to... You're trying to make me feel guilty, on purpose, right after my wedding. Do you know how that makes you look? How I looked, always about appearances. I have to go, she said abruptly. Marcus and I have plans. We'll talk later. She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, phone in hand, staring at nothing. That conversation, her tone, her words, her complete lack of empathy, was the proof I needed. This wasn't a phase. This wasn't wedding stress. This was who Jennifer had become. Or maybe this was who she'd always been, and I'd been too blind to see it. I opened my laptop and started a new document. Thomas had said to document everything, so I would. Every expense, every sacrifice, every moment of casual cruelty. If Jennifer wanted to treat this like a business transaction, fine. I'd show her exactly what that looked like. The documentation took 3 days. I went through every bank statement, every credit card bill, every receipt I'd saved, and I'd saved many. Nurses are practical people. We keep records. The spreadsheet I created was comprehensive. Column A, date. Column B, expense. Column C, amount. Column D, notes. Row after row after row, going back 32 years. By the time I finished, the total was $312,450. I'd underestimated in my initial calculation. Thursday afternoon, I met with Thomas again. He reviewed the document, his eyebrows rising higher with each page. "This is thorough," he said finally. "I'm a nurse. Thoroughness keeps people alive." He smiled slightly. "The trust documents are ready for your signature. But Margaret, I want to make sure you understand. Once you sign these, Jennifer will receive nothing except the ring. Are you certain?" I thought about that phone call, her coldness, her accusation that I was being tacky. "I'm certain," I signed. Each page felt like releasing a weight I'd carried for decades. "There's one more thing," Thomas said. "Have you considered what you'll tell Jennifer about the changes?" I wasn't planning to tell her anything, not yet. It might come out eventually. Estate matters have a way of surfacing. Then let it surface. I'm tired of managing her expectations. That evening, I was cooking dinner, just for myself, a small pleasure, when my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole, I saw Jennifer and Marcus. My stomach knotted. I opened the door. "This is a surprise. We need to talk, Mom." Jennifer's face was flushed, her jaw tight. She pushed past me into the house without waiting for an invitation. Marcus followed, his expression carefully neutral. "Please come in," I said dryly, closing the door. Jennifer spun around in my living room. "I got a very interesting phone call today from Northwestern University. Apparently, you've been making inquiries about establishing a nursing scholarship fund?" My heart rate increased, but I kept my voice steady. "That's correct. A scholarship fund that would require a substantial donation. 6 figures, they said." Her eyes were blazing now. "Mom, where exactly are you getting this money?" "That's my business, Jennifer." "Like hell it is." She took a step closer. "That's my inheritance you're throwing away. Money you saved for me, for your family. You can't just—" "It's my money," I interrupted, my voice hardening. "Money I earned. Money I saved. I can do whatever I want with it." Marcus spoke for the first time. "Margaret, I think what Jennifer is trying to say is that we're concerned about you. This seems like an impulsive decision. Perhaps you're not thinking clearly." The condescension in his tone made my blood boil. "I'm 64, Marcus, not senile." "No one's saying that," he continued smoothly. "But making large financial commitments after an emotional event, the wedding, perhaps some feelings were hurt. It's not unusual for people to act rashly." "Feelings were hurt?" I repeated. "Is that what we're calling it?" Jennifer jumped in. "Mom, if you're upset about the seating arrangement, I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want to hear? But you can't punish me by giving away my inheritance." "Your inheritance?" I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Jennifer, you've already received your inheritance. Over $300,000 worth. I have documentation." Her face went pale, then red. "That's not— Those were gifts. Parental support. That's what parents do. And this is what I'm doing now. I'm supporting causes I believe in." Marcus's expression shifted, became harder. "Margaret, I'd advise you to reconsider. Jennifer is your only child, your only family. Do you really want to alienate her over money? Is that a threat?" "It's a reality check," he said coldly. "You're an aging woman living alone. What happens when you need help? When you need someone to take care of you? Jennifer has been a dutiful daughter." "Dutiful?" I laughed, a harsh sound. "She hid me at her wedding. She told me I'd ruin the photographs." Jennifer's eyes widened. "You're really going to hold that against me forever? It was my wedding day. I was stressed. You were ashamed of me. Maybe I was embarrassed, okay? The words burst out of her. Maybe I didn't want Marcus's family seeing my mother in a discount dress looking like, like what I am, I finished quietly. A working class nurse who sacrificed everything for her daughter? Silence fell. Jennifer's chest was heaving. Marcus put a hand on her shoulder. "Mom," she said, her voice shaking now, tears starting. "Please don't do this. Don't give your money away to strangers. I'm your daughter. I love you. We can work this out." But I'd seen this before. The tears, the manipulation. How many times had she cried to get what she wanted? "I think you should leave," I said. "Mom, leave, now." Marcus guided Jennifer toward the door. She was crying openly now, but just before they left, she turned back. The tears were still there, but her eyes were calculating. "You'll regret this," she said quietly. "When you're sick and alone, you'll remember this moment." They left. I locked the door, my hands trembling. Then I walked to my bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and started packing. I needed to get away, just for a few days. Clear my head, I called Diane, my colleague. "Any chance your cabin in Wisconsin is available this weekend?" "Of course. You okay?" "I will be," I said. "I just need some peace." 3 days by the lake. 3 days of silence. 3 days to let my resolve harden into something unbreakable. I deserved that much. The cabin was exactly what I needed. Diane's family had owned it for 20 years. A simple 2-bedroom structure on the shore of Lake Geneva, surrounded by pine trees and blessed silence. I arrived Friday evening and didn't turn on my phone until Saturday morning. 17 missed calls from Jennifer, 12 text messages, 3 voicemails. I made coffee and sat on the dock, watching the morning mist rise off the water. Then I listened to the voicemails. The first was angry. "Mom, you can't just ignore me. This is serious. Call me back." The second was tearful. "Mom, please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I was upset. Can we please talk about this?" The third was different. Marcus's voice, smooth and professional. "Margaret, this is Marcus. Jennifer is very distressed. I think it would be beneficial for all of us to sit down with a family counselor, work through these issues properly. I've taken the liberty of researching some excellent therapists in your area. Please call me back so we can arrange something." Family counselor. How very Marcus. Everything had to be managed, controlled, presented properly. I deleted all 3 messages. The text messages followed a similar pattern. Anger, then guilt, then manipulation. One caught my attention. "Mom, Marcus's mother asked about you today. She wanted to send you a thank you gift for the wedding." "What should I tell her?" I typed back. "Tell her the truth, that I paid for the wedding and you hid me in the back." I didn't send it. Instead, I deleted it and turned off my phone. For 3 days, I hiked. I read. I sat by the water and thought about the life I'd lived. Had I been a good mother? Yes. Had I been too good? Perhaps. I'd confused sacrifice with love, giving with connection. I'd thought if I gave Jennifer everything, she'd love me back the same way. But love isn't transactional. Real love doesn't require payment. Real love shows up even when things aren't perfect. Sunday afternoon, Diane called the cabin's landline. "Just checking on you," she said. "I'm good. Really good, actually. Jennifer's been calling the hospital trying to find you. She told them you might be having a mental health crisis." I closed my eyes. Of course she had. "I'm fine. I'm clearer than I've been in years." "Want to talk about it?" So I did. I told Diane everything. The wedding, the humiliation, the money, the will. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Good for you," she said finally. "You don't think I'm being vindictive?" "I think you're being sane. Margaret, I've watched you run yourself ragged for that girl for years. You've skipped holidays to cover her shifts when she wanted to travel. You've loaned her money you couldn't afford to lose. And the way she talked to you at the hospital Christmas party last year, I should have said something then." "What way?" "You don't remember? You were telling a story about Jennifer's childhood, something funny, and she cut you off. Said, 'Mom, nobody wants to hear your old stories.' Made you look foolish in front of everyone." I did remember. I'd laughed it off at the time, told myself she was just being a typical daughter, embarrassed by her mother. But it had hurt. "You deserve better," Diane continued. "And honestly, that scholarship fund is a beautiful idea. You'll help dozens of young nurses who actually appreciate it." After we hung up, I felt lighter. Validation from someone who knew both of us, who'd witnessed Jennifer's behavior, it mattered. Monday morning, I drove back to Chicago. My phone stayed off until I pulled into my driveway. When I turned it on, there were new messages, but this time, they were different. From Jennifer: "Fine, take your time, but we need to talk when you're ready." From Marcus: "Margaret, I respect that you need space. Please know we're here when you want to resolve this." The temperature had changed. The panic was gone. They were regrouping, strategizing. I knew this pattern from the hospital. When aggressive treatment didn't work, patients and families shifted tactics, became cooperative, reasonable, waited for the right moment to push again. But I'd spent 30 years reading people, anticipating their needs, staying 2 steps ahead in emergency situations. I wasn't afraid of their next move. I was ready for it. I unpacked, watered my plants, and opened my laptop. Thomas had emailed the finalized trust documents. Everything was official now. My estate was protected. But I wasn't done yet. The trust was defensive. It protected what I had. Now I needed to go on offense. I opened a new browser tab and searched. How to recover gifts made under false pretenses. Then, Financial Elder Abuse Laws, Illinois. Then, Statute of Limitations Gifts Family Members. I had time. I had documentation. And now, I had clarity. Jennifer and Marcus thought they could wait me out, that eventually I'd soften, forgive, restore her inheritance. They didn't know me as well as they thought they did. Nurses are patient people. We know how to play the long game. They came on a Tuesday evening, during my usual dinner time. This time, they called first. "Mom, can we stop by? We brought dinner." Jennifer's voice was warm, conciliatory. "From that Italian place you love. We really want to talk. To make things right." I could have said no. Should have, perhaps. But curiosity won. I wanted to see what their strategy would be. They arrived with bags of food from Giordano's, lasagna, breadsticks, tiramisu. Jennifer was dressed simply, no designer labels visible. Marcus wore jeans and a sweater, looking approachable, non-threatening. They'd planned this carefully. "It smells wonderful," I said, letting them in. "Thank you." We set the table together, the 3 of us, like a normal family. For a moment, I could almost believe this was real. Almost? "Mom," Jennifer said as we sat down, "I want to apologize. Really apologize. I was horrible at the wedding. The things I said." She reached across the table for my hand. "There's no excuse. I was caught up in trying to impress Marcus's family, and I lost sight of what matters. You matter." It was a good apology, well rehearsed, almost convincing. "I appreciate you saying that," I said carefully. Marcus jumped in. "Margaret, Jennifer has been devastated these past few weeks. She's barely sleeping. This rift between you two, it's tearing her apart." I've been upset too, I said quietly. Of course you have. Jennifer squeezed my hand. And you have every right to be, which is why we want to make it up to you. We've been talking, and we want you to be more involved in our lives. Maybe you could come to Sunday dinners. We'd love to have you. Sunday dinners, a seat at the table. It was something I'd wanted for years. That sounds nice, I said. Jennifer's face lit up. Really? Oh, Mom, that makes me so happy. And we were thinking, for the holidays, we could start new traditions. You could host Thanksgiving at your house, like you always wanted. With Marcus's family, of course, Marcus added smoothly. We could all come here. It would be intimate. Special. I saw it then. The trap. They didn't want me at their table. They wanted to use my house, my labor, my hospitality. They wanted me to cook and clean and serve while they played the gracious hosts for Marcus's family. That's a generous offer, I said, my voice neutral. So we're good, Jennifer pressed. We can put all this behind us? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Her eyes were hopeful, yes, but there was calculation there too. She thought she'd won, thought a nice dinner and empty promises would erase everything. Jennifer, what about the money? Her smile flickered. The money? The wedding expenses? The inheritance? The scholarship fund? We haven't actually resolved any of that. She exchanged a glance with Marcus. He nodded slightly, giving her permission to continue. It was so subtle, I almost missed it. But I'd seen it. The way he controlled her, the way she looked to him for guidance. Right, Jennifer said, her tone shifting slightly. About that. We've been thinking, what if we compromised? You keep some money for the scholarship fund, maybe $50,000, and the rest stays in your will for me, for us, for your grandchildren, eventually. Grandchildren? We're trying, Mom. She smiled, placing a hand on her stomach in a practiced gesture. Imagine your grandchild going to the best schools, having every opportunity. Don't you want that for them? She was using hypothetical children to manipulate me. Children that might not even exist. Jennifer, you're not pregnant. Not yet, but when we are. This isn't about future grandchildren, I interrupted. This is about you wanting my money. The mask slipped. Just for a second, but I saw it. The flash of anger in her eyes. Marcus leaned forward. Margaret, I think you're misunderstanding Jennifer's intentions. She's trying to include you in our future. But if you continue to alienate her, to threaten her financially, you're going to lose her. Is that really what you want? To die alone because you were stubborn about money? Die alone? I repeated softly. It's a reality, he continued, his voice hardening. You're 64. Your health won't last forever. Who's going to take care of you when you can't take care of yourself? Who's going to visit you in the nursing home? Not Diane. Not Northwestern University. Jennifer is your only family. There it was. The threat beneath the pleasantries. So this is about leverage, I said. You're saying if I don't give Jennifer her inheritance, she won't take care of me when I'm old. That's not what we're saying, Jennifer started. It's exactly what you're saying. I stood up. You're holding your love hostage. Your presence in my life is contingent on my money. That's not fair. Jennifer stood too, her voice rising. I've been a good daughter. You've been a consumer, I said. You've consumed my money, my time, my energy, and now you're angry because the well is dry. Marcus stood, putting a hand on Jennifer's shoulder. His face was cold now, the mask completely gone. You're making a mistake, Margaret, a serious mistake. Jennifer has been patient with you. She's tried to be understanding about your issues. But this ends now. My issues? Your control issues, your need to manipulate people with money, your inability to let Jennifer live her own life. He stepped closer. We've been generous, coming here, trying to reconcile. But if you insist on this path, if you refuse to restore Jennifer's inheritance, you'll regret it. Is that a threat? It's a promise. Jennifer is your medical power of attorney, your emergency contact, your next of kin. Think carefully about whether you want to alienate the only person who has legal authority over your healthcare decisions. The room went silent. The threat hung in the air, ugly and explicit. Jennifer's face was flushed. She looked at Marcus, then at me, and I saw something die in her eyes. Whatever small part of her that might have genuinely wanted reconciliation, it was gone now. "Get out," I said quietly. "Mom, get out of my house now." They left. The door slammed. I stood in my dining room, surrounded by expensive Italian food I couldn't eat, my hands shaking. Medical power of attorney. Healthcare decisions. They could decide if I was competent. They could commit me if they wanted to. Claim I was mentally unfit. Fear gripped me. Real fear. But then I thought, I'm a nurse. I know these systems. I know the laws. They couldn't just declare me incompetent without proof, without evaluations, without due process. And if they tried, I'd be ready. I called Thomas that night. I need to revise my medical power of attorney immediately. Who do you want to name instead? Diane Chen, and I want a psychiatric evaluation on file, proving my competency. I'll arrange it. Fear was useful. It sharpened focus, and mine was laser-focused now. Jennifer and Marcus had shown their true faces. Now I'd show them mine. The confrontation came 3 weeks later, but not in the way I'd expected. I'd spent those weeks preparing meticulously. The psychiatric evaluation confirmed what I already knew. I was completely competent, mentally sound, capable of making my own decisions. Diane was now my medical power of attorney. Thomas had all the documentation secured, including recorded conversations, legal in Illinois with single-party consent, of Jennifer and Marcus's threats. But I hadn't planned for them to show up at the hospital, at my workplace, during my shift. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was finishing up with a patient when Gloria, the floor administrator, paged me. "Margaret, you have visitors in the conference room. They said it's urgent family business." My stomach dropped. They wouldn't dare, not here. But they had. Jennifer and Marcus were sitting in the conference room with someone I didn't recognize, a woman in her 50s, professionally dressed, carrying a briefcase. She stood when I entered. "Mrs. Harrison, I'm Dr. Patricia Knowles. I'm a geriatric psychiatrist. Your daughter contacted me with some concerns about your recent behavior." My blood went cold. "Excuse me?" Jennifer stood, her face a mask of concerned daughter. "Mom, please don't be upset. We're just worried about you. The erratic financial decisions, the paranoia, the isolation." "I'm not paranoid." "You changed your will without telling anyone," Marcus interjected. "You disappeared for days without notice. You've been making accusations, pushing away family." "I pushed away no one. You threatened me." Dr. Knowles held up a hand. "Perhaps we should all sit down." "Mrs. Harrison, I want to be clear. This is not an involuntary evaluation, but your daughter has expressed legitimate concerns, and I agreed to speak with you to assess the situation." I looked at Jennifer. She'd actually done it, called in a psychiatrist to question my competency. "I have my own psychiatric evaluation," I said calmly, "completed 2 weeks ago. Dr. Richard Morrison, fully licensed, declared me completely competent." Dr. Knowles blinked. You already had an evaluation?" I anticipated this move. I opened my bag and pulled out the sealed document. "Here's his report. I'm happy to have you review it." Jennifer's face went white. When did you do that?" "After you and Marcus threatened me. After he mentioned my healthcare decisions. after you made it clear you'd use any tool available to control me. I looked at Dr. Knowles. Did they tell you they threatened to use Jennifer's medical power of attorney against me? That's not concern, that's coercion. Dr. Knowles took the document, her expression shifting. I'd like to review this. Excuse me for a moment. She stepped out of the room. Now it was just the three of us. You're unbelievable, Jennifer hissed. You actually thought we'd try to have you committed? You brought a psychiatrist to my workplace, Jennifer. What did you think I'd conclude? Marcus stood. This is getting out of hand. We came here to help you, and you're treating us like enemies. You are enemies. My voice was steel now. You're not here out of love. You're here because I changed my will and you're panicking. That money is mine. Jennifer's composure cracked completely. I'm your daughter, your only child. Everything you have should come to me. Why? I asked simply. Give me one good reason why you deserve it. Because I'm your daughter. That's biology, not a reason. Have you earned it? Have you shown me love, respect, gratitude? Or have you just expected it as your birthright? I don't have to earn my own mother's love. Love isn't the same as money, Jennifer. I've always loved you. I always will. But my estate? That goes to people and causes I choose to support. People who appreciate it. Marcus stepped forward, his face red. You're doing this to punish her. To punish us. Because your feelings were hurt at the wedding. No, I said. I'm doing this because you showed me who you really are, both of you, and I finally believed you. Dr. Knowles returned. Her expression was professional, but cool. Mrs. Harrison, I've reviewed Dr. Morrison's evaluation. It's thorough and recent. I see no reason to question his assessment. But, Jennifer started. In fact, Dr. Knowles continued, I'm concerned about the circumstances of this meeting. Mrs. Harrison, did you consent to this evaluation? No. She turned to Jennifer and Marcus. Then I'm terminating this session. Mrs. Harrison is clearly competent. What you've described as erratic behavior appears to be an autonomous adult making informed decisions about her own estate. That's not a psychiatric issue. That's a family dispute. Thank you, doctor, I said. After she left, Jennifer turned on me with pure fury. You've thought of everything, haven't you? You planned this. You wanted us to look foolish. No, Jennifer. I planned to protect myself. There's a difference. This isn't over, Marcus said darkly. We'll contest the will. We'll sue for undue influence. For what? I pulled out my phone and played a recording. Their voices filled the room. Die alone because you were stubborn about money. She won't take care of you when you're old. Think carefully about whether you want to alienate the only person who has legal authority. Marcus's face went pale. Illinois is a single-party consent state, I said. I can record conversations I'm part of, and I have. Every threat, every manipulation, every word. Jennifer sank into a chair. Mom, you recorded us? I protected myself against people who were threatening me. Yes. For the first time, I saw real fear in their eyes. They'd underestimated me. Badly. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. You're going to leave my workplace. You're going to stop contacting me. And you're going to accept that my will stands as written. If you contest it, these recordings become evidence. If you harass me, I'll pursue a restraining order. Do you understand? Silence. Do you understand? I repeated. Fine, Marcus said through gritted teeth. He grabbed Jennifer's arm. Let's go. Jennifer looked at me one last time. Tears were streaming down her face, but they didn't move me. Not anymore. I hate you, she whispered. No, I said sadly. You hate that you can't control me anymore. There's a difference. They left. I stood in the empty conference room, my heart pounding but my hands steady. I'd won. Actually won. For the first time in 32 years, I'd chosen myself. 6 months passed. 6 months of silence from Jennifer and Marcus. 6 months of the most peaceful, authentic life I'd lived in decades. The first thing I did was finalize the nursing scholarship fund. Northwestern University held a small ceremony when the paperwork was complete. Dean Patricia Chambers shook my hand in front of assembled faculty and students. "The Margaret Harrison Nursing Scholarship will change lives," she said. $20,000 annually for students from working-class backgrounds pursuing nursing degrees, in perpetuity. This is an extraordinary gift. A young woman approached me afterward. Her name was Maria Santos, a first-year nursing student and the scholarship's first recipient. "I'm a single mother," she told me, her eyes wet. "I work nights at a grocery store, study during my daughter's nap times. I was about to drop out because I couldn't afford next semester. Your scholarship saved me." She hugged me tightly. "Thank you. Thank you so much." This, I thought, this is what money should do. Create opportunity for people who appreciate it. But the real vindication came in May, when Jennifer and Marcus's lives began to publicly unravel. It started with Marcus's firm. Diane sent me the article from the Chicago Tribune business section. "Wellington and Associates under investigation for client fund mismanagement." Marcus was named specifically. Allegations of billing fraud, unauthorized use of client funds for personal expenses. Then came the lawsuit. 3 of his clients were suing him personally. The details were damning. Expensive dinners charged to client accounts, vacation homes rented under business expense categories, his wedding, their wedding, partially funded with money from an estate account he managed. My $43,000 suddenly didn't seem like the biggest financial scandal in their lives. I didn't gloat. I simply watched as karma, patient and thorough, did its work. Marcus was suspended from his firm pending investigation, then terminated, then disbarred. The legal proceedings took months, but the outcome was inevitable. He'd been stealing, systematically and arrogantly, believing his privilege and connections would protect him. They didn't. Jennifer called me once during this period. I didn't answer, but she left a voicemail. "Mom, I know you're angry, but Marcus is in real trouble. We might lose the house. We might lose everything. I know I don't deserve to ask, but we need help, financial help, please." I deleted the message. 2 weeks later, another voicemail. "Fine, I get it. You're punishing me. You're happy we're suffering. I hope it makes you feel powerful." I wasn't happy they were suffering, but I wasn't going to save them either. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way. By August, they'd sold their house. At a loss, in a hurry. Marcus couldn't find work. His reputation was destroyed. Jennifer had to get a job for the first time in years, working as an assistant at a marketing firm, entry level, making a fraction of what she'd spent annually on her wardrobe. Diane would bring me updates occasionally, gleaned from social media or mutual acquaintances. Jennifer posted about how hard it is to work full-time. She'd report with raised eyebrows. Like the rest of us haven't been doing it for decades. In September, the civil suit against Marcus concluded. He owed his former clients $340,000 in restitution. He'd never recover financially. His legal career was over, his reputation destroyed. I felt no satisfaction in this, but I felt no guilt either. His downfall wasn't my doing. It was his own greed, his own corruption, his own choices catching up with him. October brought the final piece of information. Jennifer and Marcus had separated. Not divorced, but separated. She'd moved into a small apartment in a less expensive neighborhood. He was living with his parents, who'd cut off most financial support after the scandal. The mighty had fallen, thoroughly and completely. Meanwhile, my life flourished. I'd started taking art classes, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. I'd joined a book club. I'd made new friends, women my age who valued my company, not my wallet. Diane and I took a trip to Italy, my first vacation in 15 years. We toured Florence, sipped wine in Tuscany, laughed until our sides hurt. "You seem different," Diane said one evening over dinner in Rome. "Lighter." "I feel lighter," I admitted. "Like I've been carrying a weight my whole life and finally set it down." "Any regrets?" I thought about Jennifer, about the daughter I'd raised, the woman she'd become, the relationship we'd lost. "I regret that it came to this," I said honestly. "I regret that she couldn't love me without a price tag. But do I regret protecting myself, establishing boundaries, taking back my life? Not for a second." The scholarship fund was thriving. Maria Santos sent me updates about her studies. She was top of her class. 2 more students had received the scholarship for the next academic year. My legacy wouldn't be a resentful daughter who saw me as an ATM. It would be nurses, dozens of them over the years, who got opportunities they otherwise wouldn't have had. That felt like victory. Real, meaningful victory. No compromises, no regrets, just peace. 1 year after the confrontation, I woke up on my 65th birthday to sunshine streaming through new curtains. I'd transformed my house into a space that reflected who I was now. I'd retired after 42 years of nursing, honored at a party where colleagues shared stories of lives I'd helped save. Retirement suited me. I volunteered twice a week at a free clinic, staying sharp without the crushing responsibility. The scholarship fund had grown. 5 students benefited annually. They sent letters, photos, updates. One specialized in pediatric oncology, another worked with refugees. This was motherhood, too. These students appreciated what they'd been given in a way Jennifer never had. I'd reconnected with old friends. "You seem genuinely happy," my college roommate Susan observed. "Not performing it, actually feeling it." She was right. The constant anxiety was gone. I slept through the night. Diane and I traveled. Alaska, the Southwest, New York. We'd become inseparable. Romance had entered my life. Gerald, a widower from art class. We had coffee, dinners, museum trips, to be valued for myself, not for what I could provide. It was everything. Meanwhile, Jennifer and Marcus's lives collapsed. The divorce was finalized. Messy. Bitter. Jennifer came out with nothing. Everything went to legal fees and restitution. She was 34, starting over. Working retail now, selling cosmetics. The irony, she'd been so concerned about appearances. Now she stood behind a counter helping women buy luxury goods she could no longer afford. Marcus was in Colorado working at his uncle's car dealership, a Harvard lawyer selling used cars. His parents had disowned him. Jennifer posted recently her sparse apartment with the caption, "Starting over, humbled." Part of me wanted to help, but I didn't. Helping her now would only teach her that boundaries were temporary. Some lessons require hitting rock bottom. On my birthday, surrounded by genuine friends, I blew out candles. "What did you wish for?" Susan asked. I looked around. Diane, Susan, Gerald, Maria, the scholarship recipients. "Nothing," I said. "I have everything I need." Jennifer had taken 32 years from me, but I'd taken the rest of my life back. That was enough.